Hello and welcome to a special show we're doing for the Hong Kong International Races, 4 Grade 1 races, Saturday night into Sunday morning, and it's super exciting stuff. This is one worth staying up late for. I'm your host, Peter Fornatale, coming to you from Tucson, Arizona at the Global Symposium of Racing, appropriately enough, given tonight's topic. And we've got a great panel for you. We're going to dive right in. And we're going to have thoughts from 3 people I always want to talk to when it comes to betting races internationally and in Hong Kong in particular. Our show today is brought to you by our friends at attheraces.com. You can go to attheraces.com to get cards, to get much more information about all of these races. And the first person I'm going to bring in is the man behind the @HK Racing US Twitter account. And we'll ask him a little bit about that as we go along here. But first, we're going to get his thought on the first of the 4 races we're talking about. It's race number 4, 1:10 a.m. in New York on Sunday morning. That would be 6:10 in the UK, 2:10 local time in Hong Kong is the Group 1 Hong Kong Vase. We're going 1.5 miles, 2,400 meters, technically, the distance. We've got nearly 3 million US in the pot. Some familiar names in here, including world travelers like Broome and Stone Age. The favorite is Glory Vase. And Andrew Brown. Who's going to win this thing?
Yeah, great to be with you, Pete. Well, a few trainers in this race know how to win the Vase, don't they? 4 have won it before, some multiple times, including Aidan O'Brien, who's won this race 3 times in the last 7 years, Highland Reel 2015 and 2017, Star Mogul in 2020. And like Mogul and Highland Reel's first win, Stone Age is a 3-year-old son of Galileo. I'm sensing a little bit of a pattern here. Aidan, he's coming off that terrific run for second in the Breeders' Cup Turf behind Rebels Romance. And so long as all the travel doesn't take his toll, he's certainly been clocking up some frequent flyer points. I think he can bounce off that effort and upset the favourite, Glory Vase, who is a 2-time winner of the race and looking to emulate Good Barber as the only horse to have won 3 HKIR races. Of course, Golden 60 looking to do the same thing a little later in the program. But my big concern for Glory Vase is he's 7 now. You got to go a fair way back to find a horse that old that's won this race. And he's only had the 2 runs since winning the Vase last year. So fitness has to be of some concern. Is he going as well as last year? We'll find out on the weekends. No questioning his ability, of course. I'm actually going to throw Botnik in for second, the Godolphin 4-year-old, who's been looking pretty impressive in France this year at one stage, stringing 3 wins together. And rounding out my trifecta is Broome, who I think upwards of 20-1 is terrific value. And as always, thereabouts, was running well for 6 in that Breeders' Cup Turf race behind Rebels Romance. And if he can produce his Royal Ascot win from earlier on in the year, I think he's going to be right in this. But it's, Aidan O'Brien for me. And I think Stone Age on top.
All right, good stuff, Andrew. I know you've got some fun stuff happening at the HK Racing US Twitter account, including a little contest. Why don't you let folks know about that?
We do. So the Twitter account, this account focuses specifically on Hong Kong racing through a North American lens. So give it a follow on Twitter. HK Racing US is the handle. At the moment, the Hong Kong Jockey Club has very generously sent us some of these magnificent jackets, which I'm wearing here, and also some of these magnificent hats. And everyone has a chance to win one of these jackets and one of these hats. Simply go over and follow the account, HK Racing US on Twitter, and give us a like and a comment and a retweet, and away you go. You're automatically entered to win one of these awesome jackets or hats.
Great stuff. Next, we bring in a man whose story I think is going to be very, very interesting to other bettors around the world. Sean Boarman's been a professional punter for, a couple of years now, I'd say. I think going on near 2 decades at this point, but has recently made the decision to focus most of his action in Hong Kong. Sean, how are you, and what is it that you like so much about the Hong Kong product?
Hey, Pete, thanks for having me on. I'm doing good. And, what I like most about the Hong Kong product is it's, quite frankly, it's just a better product to gamble on than here in the States. It's full fields, it's competitive racing, tons and tons of liquidity, and it just day in and day out offers that chance to have a really big score, like a year-making score, almost every day they run. And that's just very appealing to me. A lot of the problems we have, they've taken care of. So other than the time difference and the lack of sleep, it's much better.
Well, you have the option. You can put in your bets. You can watch the next morning, follow along on the Twitter account, look over at theraces.com, the recaps, or you can be a true hardcore like Sean and just stay up. Who do you like to kick things off on Sunday morning, Saturday night?
Well, I hate to agree first thing off the bat, but I also really like Stone Age. I think he ran just tremendous in the Breeders' Cup. Did a lot of the dirty work, and it was the only real on pace horse that stuck around in there. And I thought he just ran a tremendous race, and drawn where he is Sunday, he should get a perfect trip, and I look for him to win it. And then I'm going to play a local horse second in my exacta play. I really like Senior Toba at what I assume is probably going to be a pretty good price. The horse is just getting better and better. Should love the distance. Drawn 10, I think I know exactly what they're going to do is just ride cold and try to finish with him, which I think suits him. So that's going to be my top two in there.
I like it. You like anything to round out the try, or you're going to focus more on those two?
I'm probably just going to focus on that play, but both Broom and Glory Vaz are interesting to me. One of the problems with this particular meeting for me is I have a lot less information to go off of than I do on a typical Hong Kong meeting, because I don't have my figures or anything for these imports. So I'll rely heavily on what guys like Andrew say about some of these horses. But Broom, Glory Vaz, and Botanik, I think, are the three that I would focus on for third.
We have another member of our team tonight. He's going to come to us through the magic of video recording. He's a colleague of mine at Sky Sports Racing. He does stuff for @theraces.com as well. He also contributes to the @HK Racing US Twitter account. He's Tim Carroll.
The one I like here is Glory Vaz, who's a twice winner of the race. He won it last year, and he won it in 2019. Now, he was unplaced in his lead up to this, but I'd read very little into that, given he was beaten in both his previous lead-ups. He's proven over course and trip. He's a seasoned traveller, and he loves it here at Sha Tin. For second, I've gone with Stone Age. He's the joint highest rated runner in the race, and he does look well placed with the 3-year-old allowance, which is a very handy £5, given it's so late in the year. He was last seen when runner-up in the Turf Classic at the Breeders' Cup, which was a career high, and it's certainly worth noting that two of Aidan O'Brien's 3 winners in this race were 3-year-olds, Highland Real and Mogul. And for third, I've gone with Broom, who has only won one race since July of last year, and he can be a bit difficult to predict, but he'd be awfully hard to hold out if running to the same level as when winning the Hardwick Stakes earlier in the year. My numbers here in race 4, 3, 10 and 1.
Next up, we have race number 5, 1:50 U.S. time in the East. That's 6:50 in the UK, 2:50 in the afternoon, Sunday. Local time, it is the Longines Hong Kong Sprint, 1,200 meters, a.k.a. 6 furlongs, just over $3 million U.S. in the pot. Sean, we're going to kick this one off with you. Where are you going in the Hong Kong Sprint?
First I'll say this isn't a race I have a terribly strong opinion in, but I do think that Lucky Swayness is going to be pretty overbet based on his talent level compared to some of these others. So I'm going to take a little shot with Cordyceps 6, even though he's not drawn very well. But his running style, that should be okay. He's going to drop back and try to finish, and might offer a little bit more value. So I'm going to try to beat Lucky Swayness on top with Cordyceps, and then I do think Lucky Swayness is the most likely horse to run second, and then Resistencia would be my third selection.
Andrew, how about you? Are you guys in alignment again this time around?
Oh, a few similar numbers there. I mean, this race it's very much Hong Kong versus Japan here, with one representative from Singapore, Lim's Kosciuszko, who might just find this too big a mountain to climb. That's a little bit of a pun too, because Kosciuszko is the tallest mountain in mainland Australia. I won't forget you, Tasmanians. I think it's going to be a real race here of tactics between Ryan Moore on Wellington and Zach Purton on Lucky Swayness. I'm with Lucky Swayness. I agree with Sean. It's probably going to be overbet a little bit, but I still think Wellington will go a favourite. I could be wrong. I loved his last outrun in the Jockey Club Sprint when he ran just outside Sacred Kingdom's 1,200 metre or approximately 6 furlong track record. Both trainer Manfred Mann and jockey Zach Burton said after the race they expect further improvement from the 4-year-old. He's super versatile. He can lead, he can take a sit, or he can come from behind. And that versatility is probably a good thing too, because he can be a little tardy out of the gate. So post position 3, you know, that's some concern. The more seasoned Wellington, I think he gets the swing in the weights here over Lucky Swain S, and from all reports is back to 100% after pulling up lame last time out when he just didn't show that regular turn of foot that he normally shows down the straight. He's 6, and older horses have a good record in this race, and I think John Dahm is the pick of the Japanese horses and can run third for your trifectas. He won the G1 Sprinters Stakes this campaign as well. So yeah, I've got Lucky Swain S over Wellington as my selections.
I love having Andrew on because you don't just get top quality tips. You also get some geography lessons, which is much appreciated. Let's bring in Tim Carroll for his thoughts on this one.
The one I like is Lucky Swain S, who's gone through the grades in impressive style since his debut in February. He was runner-up to Wellington too back when he smashed out from a high draw and was forced to work hard on the front, but he then made amends when winning the Jockey Club Sprint, a traditional trial for this. He's got a favourable draw in 3, and it's likely he'll have a perfect commute under Purton, while several of his market rivals do have tricky draws. For second, I've gone with Wellington, who is the highest rated runner in the contest, and he looked in rude health when winning on his return. He did disappoint last time out in behind a few of these when an odds-on favourite, but he was found to have a problem after that, and it'd be no surprise if he were to bounce back, although it's not an ideal leader. For third, I've gone with Skyfield, who won a messy renewal of this last year, and although he has failed to win since then, he'll certainly appreciate what is likely to be a solid gallop. My numbers here in race 5, 4, 1 and 2.
The Group 1 action continues as we skip ahead to race number 7, 3 a.m. USA time in the East. That'd be midnight on the West Coast, 8 a.m. in the UK, 4 p.m. local time for the Longines Hong Kong Mile. The purses go up throughout the night. 3.8 million up for grabs in this one. Andrew Brown, we're going to go back to you. You've already alluded to the big favorite in this race, Golden 60. Are you with or against?
Yeah, well, unless Glory Vase did it in the Vase a few races earlier, Golden 60 looking to join Good Baba as their only 3-time HKIR winner, and also join Good Baba as the winner of 3 successive Hong Kong miles. Of course, I'm with Golden 60 PTF. What's not to love about him? He's just been so great for racing, a winner of 22 from 25. He's won this race the last 2 years, as I just said. His win first off the layoff last time out showed us the now 7-year-old is going as good as ever when he reeled off some sizzling sectionals to overhaul California Spangle. He ran 21.3 for his last 400, overhauling a fitter and younger California Spangle, I should say. Jockey Vincent Ho said afterwards that he was only 80% fit for that. So with that run under his belt, look out. I think that, Golden 60 is just going to have everybody up on their feet and cheering at Sha Tin. It should be an absolute sensational race. California Spangle, tenacious in defeat on that occasion last time out. He'll be there again. And I'm going to put in number 4, Shell Meister, in for third to round out my trifecta. But it's Golden 60 for me on top.
Sean, what do you think about this big favorite?
He's a tremendous racehorse. Just he's so talented and so very versatile. I don't see him getting beat, and I do want to say I think it's really a shame because California Spangle himself is a tremendous racehorse, but he's just up against one that's a length better, or he would be something very special too. I mean, he's getting better and better. I'm really excited to see him progress as an older horse, which is something also nice about Hong Kong. Is these horses will run until they're 5 or 6 or 7 years old, and you can see how they actually progress instead of just being whisked away to the breeding shed. But yeah, I think Golden 60 wins it. I think California Spangle probably runs second, and then I was going to stick Beauty Joy in, another local horse, in third. He's also a rapidly improving horse, and he's sort of a temperamental horse to ride. He gets very rank And I don't love Zach Burton coming off just because he is a hard horse to ride, but picking up Hugh Bowman, he's probably riding better than anybody over there except Zach right now. So I think he's capable and can get this horse to settle, and I really like the way he's progressing too. So.
Let's see if we can make it a chorus for Golden 60 as we turn once again to Tim Carroll.
And the one I like is the local champ, Golden 60, who looked as good as ever when winning on his seasonal return, which took his record to an incredible 22 wins from 25 starts. Now, California Spangle and a couple of the others, they will have first run on the selection, and Vincent Ho, he'll need to have his wits about him, but the equation is fairly simple for mine. The selection needs a bit to go wrong, whilst the opposition probably need a bit to go right for there to be an upset. For second, I've gone with California Spangle, who has been runner-up both times he's met the local champion, and he was only beaten a nose last time in the Jockey Club Mile. However, Zach Burton gave him a sublime front-running ride that day, and he's now £5 worse off under these conditions. For third, I've gone with Beauty Joy, who did bomb last time out over 10 furlongs, but Connections, who seemingly wanted to try him over further to avoid the likes of Golden 60 and California Spangle, have elected to drop him back to the mile, which looks far more suitable. My numbers here in race 7, 1, 2 and 6.
We wrap things up with the biggest big one, the Hong Kong Cup. We're going 2,000 meters. That's roughly a mile and a quarter. Prize money increasing once again as we approach 4.5 million US on offer. 340 in New York, 1240 on the West Coast, 8:40 a.m. Sunday morning in the UK, and 4:40 local for this one. And Sean, we're going to get your thoughts on who's going to go out a winner as we close things out.
I think it's another sort of one horse race, with Romantic Warrior being the top choice for me. He's another just rapidly improving young horse over there. That's very versatile, very fast. Not like fast out of the gate, but just fast overall. He can run solid sectionals throughout his races, and he's going to be very, very tough to beat, I think. I was going to pick Leah Papali second, just off. I thought she had a really bad trip last year in this race, and she showed enough talent to where drawing down on the rail and picking up Moreira on his sort of swan song in Hong Kong that she should get a good trip and be part of the number.
Andrew, where are you going to go?
Well, yeah, Japan looking for a sixth cup win here in 8 years, PTF, and they have a really strong hand. Le Papale, one of them, as Sean just mentioned. I like Jack Dior as he bids to emulate his sire, Morris, who showed that explosive turn of foot under Ryan Moore going back a few years ago now to win the race. I think it was 2016. His form ties in nicely with another Japanese fancy, Panther Lassa, who will probably be loose on the lead in this race. But Jack actually beat Panther Lassa 2 back in the grade 2 at Sapporo. I think Jack Dior will be well positioned to pick up the pieces late if there's a bit of a frantic speed set up front. Sean's selection, or the one Sean selection there, Le Papale, I agree with him, ran a totally luckless 6 in this very race last year behind Love's Only You, and has been pretty consistent this year. And I think under local jockey Joe Marrero could surprise at odds. She's definitely in my trifecta. And Romantic Warrior will round out my top 3 for sure, for all the reasons that Sean just illustrated. Really exciting horse, and has just been so consistent this year, looking for 4 straight wins.
Let's go to Tim Carroll one more time to get his idea of who gets the money in the Hong Kong Cup.
The one I like is Panther Lassa, who was responsible for an incredible effort in defeat last time. That was in the Group 1 Autumn Tennis Shoe in Tokyo, when he went to the front. At one stage, he was 15 lengths clear of his nearest rival, only to be picked off in the final strides when runner-up to Equinox. He does have proven international form on the board, having dead heated with Lord North in this year's Dubai Turf. Now, he went around in that race when second up from a layoff, and he goes second up here from a similar layoff. For second, I've gone with Geoglyph. He's a promising 3-year-old. He's won 3 of his 7 starts in Japan, including the Japanese 2,000 guineas. William Buick picks up the ride, and he does get a handy £3 age allowance. And for third, I've gone with Romantic Warrior, who holds a perfect 3 from 3 record over this trip, and he's by far and away the best of the locals, having won 8 of his 9 starts, including the QE2 Cup and this year's Derby. Okay, this will be his acid test with the internationals in play, but it'll take a good one to beat him. My numbers here in race 8, 1, 11 and 2.
That is all the time we have on the show. I want to thank Tim Carroll one more time, Sky Sports Racing. And again, he contributes to the @HK Racing US Twitter account. We encourage people to follow and to retweet for a chance to win the fabulous jacket that Andrew Brown is sporting, as well as an HK, as a Hong Kong International Races hat. What else do they have to do? Is it follow, retweet, and you're in, Andrew, or is there more to it?
Really easy, Pete. Just follow the account, HK Racing US on Twitter. Give it a retweet. And if you're after one of the jackets, just comment with the size of the jacket that you'd like to win, either for yourself or a family member. We're coming up to Christmas, right?
It does make a great gift, too, as Nigel Tufnell once said. And Sean Boarman, we thank you one more time. We wish you Godspeed on Saturday night into Sunday morning with your endeavors. Appreciate you coming on here very much.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
We will thank our other sponsors at theraces.com one more time. Remember, great information, cards, lots of tipping stuff over there at theraces.com, a fantastic and underrated source for international racing information in the UK. We encourage you all to check that out, though. You got to be careful about that one guy who does the tips for the USA on Saturday. I don't know if I trust him. Thank you to everybody at theraces.com, at HK Racing US. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatale. May you win all your photos.